Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session on virtual labs. You are watching us on PM eVidya channels 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT official. Today we have taken up the subject chemistry especially for class 10 students, and the topic that we have taken up is demonstration of simulation for exploring electrolytes, acids, bases and salts. You know, when it comes to learning from virtual labs, it gives us a unique experience, and I must say that you can learn any subject through virtual lab. Now that we're talking about chemistry, it's important to talk about virtual labs first. That why and how we are getting the benefits of learning different subjects through virtual lab. Actually, virtual lab is an online platform which helps us, do or perform simulations n number of times. And when it comes to the subjects related to sciences, then we can say the students can conduct experiments without the risk of accidents or exposures to hazardous chemical. What I really like about virtual lab is that you can control your environment and you can get the desired and accurate results. You can perform the experiments n number of times and you can access the simulations at your own time, pace, space and convenience. You can also do self-analysis and gauge your performance. Now we have virtual labs for all the subjects in different languages. It's a work in progress, and today that we are talking about chemistry, let's see how we are going to perform this simulation. But first of all, let me tell you that the session is live and interactive as always, and you can reach out to us. So please take down our phone number, which is 8800440559. We also have a dedicated email ID for you, that is diksha.training@ciet.nic.in, and you can post your questions, suggestions and feedback on our YouTube handle NCERT official as well. Now, who is there with me to tell me more about virtual lab, these simulations and what kind of demonstration we are going to perform today in the session? So please join me in welcoming my guest for the session. I have with me Dr. Sunita Gulia, ma'am is Senior Academic Consultant from CIET NCERT, New Delhi. Ma'am, namaskar and very warm welcome to you. Ma'am, though we have been learning about virtual labs and we have been defining them every now and then, especially in the context of different subjects. But since we are talking about sciences today, my very first question to you is that how learning through virtual lab is making all the difference in teaching learning experiences.
Yes, and thank you for this relevant question. Here I would like to tell my viewer and learners that virtual labs, they play a very significant role in our teaching learning process, because these virtual labs, these are e-lab resources, they are e-lab platform where resources are available in different form. Like there will be theory, there will be PDF, and there will be an animated video through which understanding get enhanced, and there is an interactive simulations. And just because as today's topic is based on a chemistry concept, so here I would like to tell that these virtual labs, they offer a very safe, interactive and engaging environment, because it allows learner to visualize and perform experiments which sometimes are not possible to perform in real classroom due to safety constraint. There may be limited lab resources, reagents are not sufficient, or other challenges are also there. So because of that, we can easily incorporate and we can easily integrate these virtual lab into our teaching learning process, because through this overall that our understanding, because of there are many scientific concept, abstract concepts which require certain kind of visualization, and that virtual lab, it basically make those concepts more relatable, because it is basically learning by doing. So that is the overall I can say why these are so important.
Absolutely, ma'am, because you're talking about enhanced engagement, you're talking about gamification of concepts, and visualization is extremely important, because that is why we are unable to learn a subject, because we cannot relate it to the real life atmosphere, the surroundings. And I also want to say one more thing, that it's the repetition of experimentation that is the best part. But we also reiterate that it is not replacing real physical laboratories.
Not at all. These are not at all replacement of our physical laboratories. These are basically an add-on to the existing system. They are enhancing the actual laboratory experience, because just I mentioned, not all the activities are doable in physical laboratories. So because of there are just I mentioned, because some experiment they involve some hazardous chemical reactions. So or for those reactions we need a safe control environment, and virtual labs are providing these kind of platform to us.
Very well said. And in the end, I just want to mention it's very cost effective in nature. All you need is a stable internet connection and an IoT device. Now let's move on to perform this simulation, and I want to request ma'am to go ahead with the same. And ma'am, please tell us where we can access these simulations, and is it mandatory to sign up?
Yes, definitely. I'll go step by step with my learners. So in order to access these virtual lab, we have to go to our Diksha platform. So that we will use diksha.gov.in. So this is the home page of Diksha. Here you can see, if I scroll down, you can see there is a focus area, and in these focus area there is a tab for the virtual lab. The moment I click on these virtual lab, you can see this is the landing page where we can see the importance of virtual lab is mentioned, because we are using these virtual labs as per our National Education Policy 2020. Now here you can see that the content of virtual lab, basically this is aligned from grade 6 to grade 12. So in order to explore any content, let us suppose just I mentioned, you must have seen through the poster that today's experiment is of class 10.
Yes.
So I'll click on the explore tab and I'll click on the science. So here you can see there is kind of a, TOC has appeared. Now just because I want to make my learner this process more relatable and more how to access, so let me take to a different, like I will show you the login process for this.
Okay.
Now here you can see this is the Diksha home page. Now if I scroll down, just we repeat this step again. Now this is the virtual lab page. I'll click on the grade 10 explore. Now I'll click on science tab.
Okay.
So here you can see this kind of page has appeared. Just you mentioned, asked me Harpreet, is there a login process? Yes, one-time registration is required. So here, or you can use sign up with your Google account also. So I am going to sign up with the Google. So let me sign in. So here you can see this is my registered email ID with Diksha portal.
Okay.
So I am going to sign up here.
And you can sign up as a student, teacher,
yes,
or even as a general public.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So here you can see I have signed it into my account. I'll click on the continue. Now it will take me to the virtual lab platform where we were initially. So now I can access all the resources that are available under this platform. So step by step we will move. Now just we need to reach to our experiment. That is, today's experiment is about show that acid base salts are electrolyte. We are going to explore the nature of electrolyte and how these acid base salt, these substances, they act as electrolyte, and we will see the role of ions in this overall process.
Okay.
So just I mentioned in the beginning, they have different kind of resources. Now there is a theory related to this experiment. So learner can see the theory part here. So here you can see this theory will basically, it kind of a reference what experiment you are going to perform and what is the chemistry behind this.
Okay.
Now here one by one I'll just take a few minutes to explain this entire concept of electrolyte. So I would just want to tell, now here you can see. So just because if you were regularly watching our this learning project, you were part of our learning journey. So my learner must have understood the concept of acid, base and salt, which I took in my previous sessions. So if I go directly to the electrolyte, now their electrolyte, basically what are electrolytes? Electrolytes are the substance when they are dissociated into when they dissociate into ions in the presence or in their aqueous solution. So they require any solvent. Solvent could be alcohol or it could be water. So when they dissociate, they furnish ions. Ions could be negatively charged and positively charged ions, and these ions are basically responsible for the conduction of electricity through these aqueous solution. Now these electrolytes can be strong electrolyte and can be weak electrolyte. Now strong electrolyte, basically they are dissociating completely. and weak electrolyte, they dissociate partially. So now for today's experiment, we'll see whether how these strong acid base salts are acting as a electrolyte.
Okay.
So now coming back to our different resources here, I'll just again I'll take my learner to the repository here. So here you can see, if I go back to my this session, now here you can see there are if I scroll down now, just the theory we have seen. Now there is a procedure. Procedure is available in both real lab as well as in the simulator lab. So the learner will know what kind of reagent material is required. Here you can see there is a requirement for the hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide is required, that is our base, and sodium chloride, that is our salt, and even the quantity is also mentioned so that they can easily prepare and arrange these reagents when they enter into their physical laboratory. Now after this there is a simulation, or they can easily, or there will be an animated video also to make the understanding, they can easily relate to this process. So I'll take directly to the simulation part here. So here you can see, when I click on this simulation, this kind of screen has appeared. Now I'll make it full screen. Now here you can see, initially, just because we have already understood the concept of electrolyte and we have understood what is the aim and objective of this activity that we are performing today. So let us suppose I'll ask my viewer, as a teacher we can pose this question to our student also after making them understood the entire process. So now they can be asked, like, if we want to check the electrical conductivity of deionized water while doing this experiment, what will be the possible result? So here we can take a moment to think about it, because deionized water means there is no ions in the solution. So basically, just in the beginning I told you that ions are responsible for the electrical conduction of the these solution. So definitely the bulb is not going to glow here. So now just imagine, I don't know the answer. The student is still thinking, he is still learning about this electrolyte concept. So let us suppose if they click on the wrong answer, they pick the wrong choice, there will be instant feedback is given by highlighting giving a red pop-up that you need to revisit your concept and you can again come back. So here I'll go with the right option here. Now after this, here you can see, when I click on the right, this kind of, now we are into a virtual chemistry lab. So here you can see the reagents are aligned, the beakers are aligned in front of us. So they are labeled as A, B, C and D, and there is a hydrochloric acid bottle with a dropper, and there is a salt, sodium chloride, and there are base, that is sodium hydroxide. So now we will go as per the procedure. We can read these instructions step by step, or we can also click on the help tab. It will list out the same steps. So anyway, through any way we can proceed. So let me start with the activity now. So here first we have to drag and drop the dropper containing hydrochloric acid into beaker A containing water. All these beaker, they are filled with around 100 ml of water inside it. So I'll just add hydrochloric acid first to the beaker A. So now I have prepared a aqueous solution. It is a aqueous solution of the acid. Now next step is that I have to add the sodium hydroxide that is present in watch glass into beaker B. Now again this has become an aqueous solution of base. Now sodium chloride I'll add into beaker C.
Okay.
Now we have to keep this beaker D as it is. We are not going to add any external component into this beaker D. So now we have prepared the aqueous solution of acid, base and salt. Now I'll click on the next. Now here, because in this experiment we have to check whether these substance, acid, base, salt, how they behave as an electrolyte, basically how they are going to conduct electricity.
Okay.
So for that we need to prepare a circuit. I'll click on this circuit, show circuit. So here we can see what kind of wiring we need to make. So we can easily go through this. and after unhiding we will make this on our own. So step by step we'll do. Now I'll put this nail in the cork. Basically these nail, they will serve as 2 electrodes here. Now the next is that here we can see there is a battery, there is a bulb, there is a key holder, and there is a key. Now step by step we'll make the arrangement here. I'll make the connection first with this battery here.
Okay.
So now we have done. Now next I'll make some connection with this as per the, we'll go and complete this circuit. So now here we can see the circuit has been completed.
Yeah.
Now in case if we make some wrong connection here, again we can go back and reset, because after when we click the reset we can go to the beginning initial page and it will start again. So I'll check whether this circuit is right or not. I'll put the key in key holder. So here we can see that the circuit is correct because bulb is glowing here.
Yeah.
So now we can move to the next step. So I'll click on the next tab here. So here what next step we have to do, we have completed the circuit. So now,
so ma'am, what will be the next step then?
yes, so here we have completed the circuit. We just we have shown that how to complete this circuit. After completing the circuit, what we have to do, we have to check for the conductivity through all the aqueous solution that we prepared, solution of acid, base and salt. So one by one we'll perform this step. Now I have placed this circuit into the solution A. Solution A is my acid solution, and I'll check whether this bulb will glow or not.
Okay.
So let me put key in key holder. So here we can see that the bulb is glowing. It means that this solution of this the beaker which has solution of acid, it is an electrolyte, because it has furnished ions, and ions are responsible for the conduction of electricity through the aqueous solution of these acids.
Okay.
Now moving to the next. Now we have to repeat the same steps with the solution B, that is the base.
Okay.
Now I'll put key again in the key holder, and here we can see that this bulb is glowing again here. The learner can note down all the observation, then we can conclude at the end. Now with the next, here we have some question, because in between we need to
assess ourselves.
Yes, that is very much important for comprehensive understanding. So here we can see in this experiment we are using sodium hydroxide solution. What will happen when we use the same sodium hydroxide in its solid form? Will it conduct electricity or not? Harpreet, what do you think? Because here I told in the beginning that we need to have an aqueous solution.
Yes.
Now here we are asking, if I replace the aqueous solution with a solid form, whether the electricity will pass or not. So because we need aqueous medium for the liberation of ions, and those ions are responsible for the mobility and conduction of electricity. So here we all know that there will be no conduction of electricity. So I'll click on no,
because they can't flow since it's solid.
Yes, there will be no, the ions will not be liberated in the solid form. We require an aqueous medium for ion furnishing.
Okay.
So,
and ma'am, this is so interesting, because if you don't know anything, you also get the reason along with it why your answer is incorrect.
Yes. That is why our teacher and student, they can collaborate together, and they can the student can have a discussion with their teacher.
Absolutely.
And they can make the teacher can make the concept more relatable and clear through these virtual labs.
And this also encourages peer learning.
Yes.
Right.
So next is that we'll put the key again, and for solution C we check, because solution C contains salt. Here we can see again the bulb is glowing. So next is we will put this entire circuit in solution D. So here we need to remember that it's solution D, basically this beaker D has just the water. Okay. It has no acid, base and salt here. Okay. So it is basically a deionized water.
Okay.
So I'll put key, and here we can see there is no bulb is glowing, because there is no ion, no presence of ion is there. So no conduction of electricity will take place, and no bulb will glow here. Okay. So next, now again we can think over, because we must have noted down the observation. Now we can find out the answer, we can think about the chemistry behind all these reactions. So here we can see for HCl, for NaOH and NaCl, we can see there is a formation of positive and negatively charged ions. There we can see, and these ions are basically, these are responsible for the conduction of electricity, and that is why I mentioned that these. And one more thing, like in the classroom, when our learner, they will go to the physical classroom, physical lab setup, what teacher can do, they can extend this activity further. Like how can they do? Just I want to give one example here, like what through virtual lab we have understood the concept of electrolyte. We have understood that salts are electrolytes. Now just in the beginning, through the theory I mentioned that the salt could be a strong, the electrolyte could be a strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte. So what teacher can do, they can place different kind of electrolytes in front of student, and through there are digital conductometers are available. So what they can do, they give a sodium hydroxide solution because it is a strong base, and one they can other component they can give a weak base. So they can check the conductivity value also, because sodium hydroxide, it is a strong base, so it will furnish large number of hydroxide ion, because it will be dissociated completely, and my weak base will give lesser number of ions. So they can compare the conductivity also, why we are saying it is a strong electrolyte, it is a weak electrolyte, or why it is a strong base, it is a weak base. So they can check through different ways also. So this is how we can integrate these virtual lab into our classroom learning process.
And of course you can learn it further also, because by learning the foundation through virtual lab, you're fully prepared now to go and perform the experiment in real physical laboratories.
So anytime, just we mentioned in the beginning, we can repeat this experiment n number of time. I'll click on the reset tab, and again I'm ready to perform this experiment as many time as I want, as many time I want to learn and revise my concept.
And ma'am, like side by side we are getting questions to assess ourselves. Is there any other assessment also, like some other objective type questions, that finally after performing the entire experiment we can do the final assessment?
Yes, there is assessment also. For that we can go to the assessment. Here we can see this is the we were there in the experiment. We can I'll just scroll down
again to the table of contents and look for the experiment that we have performed.
I'll just go, there is a assessment tab. There you can see this is a self evaluation just below the simulation. So I'll click on this, and we can self-assess and check our learning, what we have learned so far. So just a few questions I can take for my learners. So one question is, which of the following substance is known to produce hydrogen ions in water and is categorized as electrolyte? Quite simple. We know acids, they furnish H plus ions. So it is right. Even if we get the wrong, we are not able to answer, we'll be given a feedback so that we can move ahead.
Ma'am, I also want to understand one more thing, that when it comes to assessment, teaching, learning process, assessment is important. But then there are students who have completed one level and they now want to increase the difficulty level. So are there any other reference materials available that we can definitely check?
Yes, there are references also. So learner can visit these reference material, and they can also extend their learning. And even I just want to tell Harpreet, there are many concepts which are interrelated. They are linked to the different higher classes also. So after learning, just even if my student is in class in grade 10, they can understand the concept of electrolyte. Now in the higher classes, there will be some kind of extension to this experiment. So they can move, they can go to that classroom and just if we remember in the previous classes, I took a concept of acid base neutralization process. So as neutralization is what? It is a combination of acids and base to produce salt. So in today's session you can see I explain about
an extension of the same.
So I explain about the salts and the characteristic they exhibit. They act as an electrolyte. What kind of what is the theory behind why they are acting as an electrolyte? Because of the role of iron is there. they are furnishing iron in the aqueous solution.
So if you want to learn more, you have the content available for higher classes as well, and if you're not getting any point correct, you can always go back to the previous classes.
Yes,
and
definitely.
get your base strong, because unless and until your foundation is strong, you won't be able to study the subject in the higher classes. Now ma'am, I before winding up the session, it's very important to have last few words from you, because learning chemistry is interesting, but again through virtual labs, how do you think it is making a difference for all those who want to make it there, who want to make a career in this subject?
Yes, definitely, because through just we know, Harpreet, there are many, because we have a diverse
Yes.
we have diverse learners, and in order to address all the their learning needs, we need to provide different kind of platform through which they can enhance, and they can be confident,
Yeah.
like they can do that experiment on their own also, because just I mentioned, these virtual labs, they are providing a very safe and controlled environment.
True.
And many a times students, they feel unsafe while performing chemistry experiment, because of the hazardous chemicals are involved. They need certain kind of guidance and supervision. So through these control environment, through these virtual lab, they can perform the experiment in a very engaging and safe environment. And overall, at the end, I can say they can enhance their learning process, and they can anytime they can repeat that experiment as many times as they want.
There are so many benefits available. They are not just important for the students, but also for teachers, because they can also gauge, where the student stands and can help the student perform better. Dr. Sunita, it was an indeed fruitful journey for all of us. I mean, I feel like performing experiments now in virtual labs, though I was never a science student, but I think through virtual lab, you can arouse your interest in the subject and be better in it. So thank you so much for your contribution to the session. My dear viewers, it's time for me to wrap up this session over here. I would like to reiterate that today we learnt about demonstration of simulation for exploring electrolytes, acids, bases and salts. But this is not the end, because tomorrow we will be coming up with yet another exciting journey. So what we are having tomorrow, let me tell you. Tomorrow we will be studying about demonstration of simulation on refraction of light in rectangular glass slab. Well, by now you must have figured it out that it's about physics, and the class that we will be taking up is 10. With this, I am winding up my session on virtual labs here. And before I finally exit the studio, it's time for me to share a few more important informations with you. Let's start with textbooks. So textbooks for grade 4 and 7 are now available on Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT website. You can purchase them from there. And what all programs you will be watching through the day? Please take a look at the schedule. So we are through with our session on virtual labs for chemistry, and in a short while from now you can watch our session Ullas at 11 AM. 12 PM is the time for our session on teaching learning interventions for inclusive classrooms. Today the subject we have taken up is English, and the topic will be the white elephant. At 2 PM we will bring you a session of EVS, followed by a session of mathematics. At 2:30 we will be learning about squares. 3 PM is the time for sciences, followed by a session of mathematics, where you can learn about number play. 4 to 5 PM we will have our online training program. This week we are talking about nano learning and micro courses, and we will end the day with the session Sahyo. With this, it's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you, and will join you soon. Namaskar.